So I've been working in change management now for just over 5 years. I worked in change management, I would suggest, for another 3 years prior to that, just not realising what it was. And I would say it didn't choose me. I didn't choose it. It chose me because I just came across it, which I'm learning is very, very common. I've worked in transformation projects and all that kind of area for over 15 years now, and I soon became aware of culture change and what that means and why aren't these kind of things landing, and so it kind of morphed from there really. Well, the first misconception I would suggest is people don't know what change management is, so there's a bit of an education piece there that we're doing within our business around what it entails, and even when you describe sometimes the people side of change, they go, what? So just that element of what's involved as well. And I think one of my really big bugbears is that change management, well, that's just comms and engagement, isn't it? And it's like, no. Making sure everybody's on the same page, making sure you know what you're delivering and why, and making sure that that is cascaded effectively in the business, and then you can start actually involving the end users rather than just telling them what's happening. So I started off in a delivery role, and I'm now in what we call a functional role, which is basically about establishing that capability. So whether that's change practitioners, change leadership, change sponsors even, it's about educating people on, again, what change management is, the approach that we should be taking and the structure that we want to take, but actually the value is building the relationships, building trust and integrity, and making sure that you are as open and transparent as you possibly can throughout, and applying that to just our ways of working within the business, and kind of raising the profile as well of the benefits and the value that applying change management can really bring. And that needs to be tailored to who you're talking to. So quite often when I'm talking, it's about making sure it's fit for purpose for you, or with the senior leaders, it's like, I'm going to improve your project objectives and your return on investment, and coming at it in the same way as you would anything else, tailor your messaging. What I described at the beginning around how change management found me, not the other way around, I want to flip it the other way. So I'm now talking to early careers and graduates around, this is what change management is. This is your career path, and here is a recognition piece, which we've never had before. And it really solidifies that it's a genuine profession, not just a nice fuzzy thing that some people talk about. And really inspiring others to get involved. And actually, the group that I'm with here today, we've just agreed to meet up for a coffee because we've realised we all live quite locally to each other. So we've got a date in the diary, and it's building that community and that knowledge base as well.
I think that one of the most exciting parts of businesses is change management, because businesses have to change all the time because of the evolving environment. And I think it's quite exciting for me to then teach students about this, because at some point they will be faced with changes in their career and change management. And change management is all about business growth and transformation. And so it's really, really important for us to encourage students to disrupt their thinking in order to think more strategically. The other thing that I love about change management is the human side of it. I think that's really, really important. I think aspects such as resistance, employee buy-in, engagement and feedback are really interesting, and also how businesses manage those things as well. And finally, I think another reason why I love change management is because I think it's all about adding value. I think that businesses need to continuously review how they need to add value to their business. So whether that's generally being more efficient with some aspect of the business operations, whether that is maximising resources, or just generally making consumers happier. And I think change management is all about adding value. I think one of the big misconceptions is that if a change isn't going to be big enough, then we don't need to plan for it. But I think that any change, even if it's minor, because I think even minor change can be incredibly complex, I think that you need to have a structured plan and process in place, because there are various people that are involved in the change process, and individuals have to rely on one another, departments have to rely on one another. So people need to know what their role is, when the change is going to happen, what's going to happen, what are the objectives. They need to see timelines. And I also think that a lot of organisations might think that if a change is quite small, then we can do it ourselves and we don't necessarily need outside kind of expert assistance. And I don't think that's the case also. I think that sometimes you do, even if the change is small. Another sort of misconception of change management, I think, is that resistance is negative. And I completely don't agree with that. I think that when change is happening, for managers it's quite frustrating when groups or individuals are resisting, but I think it can also be very, very powerful, and it can be a great opportunity for managers to genuinely see what are the concerns of employees, and actually, do we need to change something, or are we doing the right thing? Sort of final misconception of change management, I think, is that organisations may think that we can announce the change once or communicate aspects of change sort of once or very little. But I think it's about repeatedly communicating what the message is and what the change is and what's important for the organisation for employees to know. And also it's about using different communication channels as well. Because when you think about it, if a message is dropped throughout in a communication channel, some people may not pick up on it, and they may not want to pick up on it because they may be in denial that the change is happening. So you don't want to take it in. But I also think that using different communication channels is really important, because we take in information very differently. I think we absorb it very differently, so we might misinterpret what the message or communication is. So I think using different communication channels and repeating the messages helps to reinforce the change and the message. I think they're fantastic. I think that it increases the visibility for individuals and all of their great achievements. And I think that, the visibility is increased because they're on the Change Awards, website and throughout other social channels as well. And it also really helps to celebrate those individuals, teams, organisations that have done great things in change management, and also their commitment as well. And I think in turn then it helps to inspire other people who are going through the challenges of change management and the processes, and it might be slow, and I think it helps to inspire them, and I think that it helps to really push them maybe to be more innovative because of the success stories that they've heard, or maybe there was some knowledge that was shared at the Change Awards, for instance. So it's great, it's inspiring for them, and I think it's a great networking opportunity. You've got like-minded people in the room who are sharing what they've done, and other people can learn from, and I think it can possibly enhance collaborations as well, and I think it brings the community together and or lots of people that work in change management.
Okay, so how long have I worked in change management? It's been a long time. I bear the scars, although not technically always as change management, because I've always worked in tech, and I started in training, particularly in IT training. So people would come into my IT training room many years ago, 35 years ago, and not have any idea why they were there. And that became really wearing, and I started to think, there must be something missing here. What is it that's going on? Why are they coming into my training room and not knowing why I'm asking them to do certain things? So I started investigating what that might be. At the time I was doing a psychology degree as well with the Open University, and I put two and two together and came up with, there must be something about managing change here that will make a difference. So that's how I got into change management, is through training and people not understanding why they were there. Common misconceptions, particularly in digital change. First of all, is that change management is just project management, but fluffy. And so it's very transactional, and of course it's not transactional in any way. But a lot of our organisations latch onto that as what they call business change. So within my function, actually, we developed this concept of a change onion, which is a layered concept where implementation from a tech perspective is at the core. And that could be anything, just any old tech. And then there's business change wrapped around that, which is the process moving from current state to future state. And then wrapped around that is change management, which is the hearts and minds, the people bit. So we've got the tech, we've got the process, and we've got the people. And they're very often shown as interacting, maybe in some sort of Venn diagram. But I love the idea of the change onion, because if you miss any of them, it will make you cry, absolutely. So I love working at the change management side of that, because it's totally different to business change. Education, so in terms of reversing and managing these misconceptions, we need to educate project managers, first of all, on how change management complements what they do. It's not a threat to them. It's something that if they allow change management to work alongside project management, they will end up with the perfect solution. But we can only do that by helping them to understand the benefits. And that very often that's about proving the benefits. We can't just say, you know, this will work, trust us. We've got to prove how this can work. And that means getting on and doing it. The Change Awards has been really important for my profession within NHS England and within the NHS in general, because there are lots of change managers fighting the fight with project managers, not necessarily against them, but sometimes trying to convince them. And I think just having the credibility of something that said, actually, you do know what you're doing, has given me and my team an awful lot of credibility to support our customer base better.
How long have I been in the change management industry? Many years. Too many years, really. I think definitely over 15, but I fall into change management, as many of us as well, to be honest with you. I started in as a change professional, working on really project management type of project, but then I've decided, well, human factor is important, so why not focus on the human factor? And this is how I fell into the change management sphere. But it's been many, many years. I've got quite a lot of experience. Why did I choose change management? Well, change management is all about people, and people are this fantastic wild card, right? You come into a project, you feel that there is a piece of deliverable that you need to achieve, however, you cannot do it on your own. And then soon, whilst working in a different project spheres, you realize, well, people are the only thing that really is, make it or are going to make the project go ahead or not. So I got interested in that, and I'm also interested in human psychology, and it's all a bit intertwined. So it all fell in together, I suppose. Oh my goodness, Change Awards. Yes, Change Awards is essentially an award scheme which has been set up for the change management profession. Change management profession is growing, it's new, it's developing, it's needed, but has never been recognized. And we've got lots of different award categories for people who are working in transformation space or technology space. We've got CIOs, etc. But there is nothing really change-related, change-specific. So I thought that setting up the Change Awards would be a fantastic way to recognize people who work as a change management professional and who do fantastic things behind the scenes. And they are very, very, very rarely recognized. So they are those unsung heroes of change, and it would be fantastic to have them recognized. That's why I've set it up. Change Awards 2024 is definitely happening, and there are quite a few changes, good changes. So we listen to the feedback that we have from people like yourselves and people who have applied for an award like last year, or people who have effectively been in contact with us. It transpired that there are some new categories in the individual section that we will be expanding to, again, based on the feedback, based on the type of entries we had last year. We are also going to open up to organizations and teams. So if you are an organization that have not been recognized in change, maybe you have your internal change management function, a change management office, or maybe you work as part of the PMO, you are able to apply as well, and then have that recognition for you as an agency, for you as a team, for you as a company. And most importantly, we are going global. So 2023 Change Awards was just about the UK and Ireland, and we had to turn down a couple of entries or a few entries which came from different countries. We are not going to do it again. We are going to accept entries globally. So if you're listening to this message, make sure you apply wherever you are in the world. Misconceptions in change management. I love that question. It's very easy, you think, to reply to that question, but actually it isn't. There's quite a lot of misconceptions, and I've recently actually written a bit of a tiny little piece about that. But I think the biggest one is that we are not the only player in the field. Change managers oftentimes come into an organizations and we are tasked with whatever we are tasked with, and then left alone and you do everything. It does not work like that. We are just there behind the scenes to pull and push and manage and liaise. However, the sole responsibility of delivering change doesn't really stay with us. It actually stays with the people who are within the organization. So I would say this is the biggest misconception. I would say that that misconception is probably often, I hear people talk about that. So I'm going to give it my top 5. Right, so the in-group, I have worked with in-group for many years. I've known Kieran Stevens for a while now, and we've been working together. He's been very supportive of the Change Awards. So when I had an idea back in 2022, I want to say now, he was the first person I called. It's like, Kieran, this is the idea, what do you think? And he loved it straight away, and then since then we started working together. He's been instrumental in, I suppose, a little bit leading me. I also had some questions, the things that you don't know, you just don't know. So it's been fantastic working with him. And then obviously then he's introduced me to different colleagues within the in-group, different parts of the organization. And to be really honest with you, it's been a fantastic experience. However, may I just also add that I've had a lot of people talk to me about the in-group, especially the Investigo side, so the recruitment side, and every single person who comes across the recruitment desks says to me that Investigo is one of the best recruitment companies they've ever had the chance to talk to.
I've worked in change management for the last 20 years. And I'm not quite sure if I chose change management or whether it chose me. So I just got really interested in why change wasn't being adopted, and it led me to change management, and here I am now. So common misconceptions in change. I suppose you put a change manager on a project and the change manager will sort everything. That does not work. It actually it needs lots of different people to be involved, and without that it's not going to work. So, misconceptions of change. The first one is that it is not fashionable, it's not shiny, it's not a nice to have, fluffy thing. Actually, it is a structured approach. Saying that, it's also not death by template, and it's about building change readiness and also building excitement for the change adoption. First of all, it's about listening, and it's really about understanding what day-to-day challenges are. It's, I think a misconception is that there is no resistance, and actually that's not true. Resistance is totally natural. So for me, it's about listening to people's concerns, really understanding those, taking action from them, working with managers of people who are impacted by the change, and they often are the people that can anticipate where that resistance is going to happen. So for me, it's really working closely with those line managers, to build the business readiness and build that change adoption. Change awards, really important, I think. Change management is quite a hidden profession, so it's an amazing chance to actually celebrate change management as a profession. Celebrate some people that are doing great stuff, and open up the network. So what I've found from the Change Awards is that there are people in similar situations to mine, so it's just been brilliant to actually meet, talk about those, get ideas. That's I think the exciting part of the Change Awards.